So thank you very much. And now I have some questions which you asked us in the registration. So we will start with those questions, and then I will read the questions which you write in chat. Please write them in chat, and we will answer those questions.
Okay, I keep
So
my
start from
screen sharing on, or what?
you can stop. Please stop screen sharing. Yeah,
Okay,
nice.
yeah.
So how to manage climate control system on high altitude farms? We have some participants from who have high altitude farms.
Yeah, from high altitude farms, and that's when you got in very high altitudes, the air is getting more open. I say always, it's wider. So you have to calculate with the air pressure, which is on on that level where you like to be. So the fan has to be also a bigger one because he has to move more air to do the same as on the sea levels. And you have everything to calculate to that much air which you need. Because the mushrooms are not they like to have an amount of oxygen. So when they don't have it, they don't feel happy. And also the same with with moist and so. So that's you have to calculate with the air pressure which is up there.
I thank you for the answer. And if you will need some more consultations of Frans, you can always find him on LinkedIn or find me, and I will help you to connect with Frans for his consultation. Another
Yeah.
question, it was in Dutch, but we are going to translate it in English. What is the most ideal humidity sensor?
The most ideal humidity sensor is, for me, it's still the dry and wet bulb because it's easy and cheap. It has one disadvantage. You have to maintain often the flask for the water and the sock which is on the wet bulb sensor that you have always water in the container and this sock should be also I say always do it every round, put a new one on, then you know always it's good working. So that's you have also electronic sensors, and the normal electronic RH sensors are working fine till 80, some till 85 percentage. But mushroom growers are having it a bit higher, so they are around 85 to yeah 89, 90, 98 percentage where they work. And when in the pinning stage, you need a very high humidity, and that's therefore the electronic sensors come not as ideal sensors. You have also electronic sensors which are very expensive, which do it right because they have a heat element in it and extra calculations in it. So, but that is very expensive. So you can use these, but yeah, I wouldn't do that. I don't hear you.
Yes, thank you, Franz. Yes, now I will ask you another question, but now can I ask you, all my dear participants, if you can write in comments your country, so I will know which countries joined this webinar. I will be very much grateful. So the another question is how to save energy consumed per kilogram of mushroom harvested. It's a wide question, but
How to consume how to save energy. Yeah, energy you save best by having the right calculations on your climate system and have the good insulation and have good sealing for the walls and so that not the moisture gets into the walls. And that's one. The other one is to uh, when you are, how should have say that? When you are in, yeah, heating and cooling, that is when I see in some places that heating and cooling are working together, uh, 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 fight together to get the temperature right. So when this is done, that you like to heat up the air, and the cooling is coming down from something, that the cooling is not stick to a level and the heater is going up further. So the cooling should then be on zero and the heater should be up then. Only in um, for the humidity to get rid of too high humidities, then cooling and heater should work together. Yeah, and also airflows that when the fan is doing too much, you blow a lot of air out of the room and to the outside. So I say then always you are try to change the outside climate. And also when you with CO2, when you have also with CO2 levels, you can also save a lot of energy. Try the highest possible CO2 level, which is good for your mushrooms, and not lower it and lower it. I come sometimes on farms and they say to me, I have the CO2 level below 800 ppms. And then I think, okay, then you blow a lot of fresh air and all this energy which you need to keep uh, the room on a good climate, you blow through. So you blow all your energy which you put in away. Yeah.
Well, so and now the last question from the registration, and then we will start to answer the questions in their comments. The question is, what is the sustainable alternative of puff panels? I mean, of the sandwich panels.
Uh, or what you can, yeah. Could you repeat the question again?
Yeah, the question was, what is the sustainable alternative of puff panels?
Oh, yeah. You can also use aerated concrete or AAAC, that is aerated concrete. And these are a bit like panels. You can have them blocks or in huge panels. And these insulate also very good, but not that good as insulation panels. But when you do that, you need a very good sealing for the seal the walls off, because and not use any textile or but use right things. There are more you can see behind the rip style. They have very good coatings for the walls. These kind of walls. You can also do other walls. You can. I saw one day a farm. They did it with wooden plates. They put feathers in it from a chicken farm which was nearby, which they saved. And this is also a good insulation then. But yeah, to that you can have put a lot of things, but yeah, you have to seal the walls of them. That's then always a very delicate thing. And but yeah, that's a bit.
Thank, yeah, thank you, Francis. No, maybe it was not question about the climate. However, a person was interested, and thank you for telling us we always are for sustainability. So now the question is from the comment. It is long question. How much fan capacity is required in terms of cubic meter per hour for a growing room with 500 square meters growing surface area? I understand that you can calculate it. And then how
And
much we could, I will read the whole question and maybe how much shall be cooling coil capacity in terms of tonnage of refrigeration for a 500 square meters growing area room, and ambient conditions are dry bulb 42 degrees Celsius and wet bulb temperature 27 degrees Celsius. You can tell something about that. Should I repeat?
let's say start with the first one. When you have a room of 500 square meters, then I know also to know where it is, because I need to know the altitude, which we had before. When I don't know on when you are in India and in India near the Himalaya and on 4,000 meters, then you have a very different as when you go to Mumbai, for instance, which is near on sea level. So that's the first thing you have to know. And then it's also you need to know is what are you growing? Are you growing mushrooms with phase three compost, or mushrooms which are pinned coming to your farm, or mushrooms which is a different type as the white button mushrooms? So these are questions which you need to know, because all these, let's say when you grow oysters, they have another, they need another content of air as white button mushrooms. And when you have
Franz, he told you, answered that it is Mumbai, India, button mushrooms with phase two compost.
in Mumbai, when and white button mushroom fresh, then you could say it's when you have 22 cubic meters times 500 is 11,000 cubic meters. It's, they need an 11,000 cubic meters fan for 5,000 square meter.
Thank you very
It's
much for the answer.
yeah, and for the cooling coil, I cannot say that so out of my head, because I need first to find out the climate figures, and then I will calculate with that, because the mushrooms like to have. Then it goes about kilojoules. When you put kilojoules together with the RH, you can calculate how much kilojoules it is. So then you can see what figures you like for your mushroom growing. And then you can say, okay, outside is this kind of kilojoules and maximum and a minimum. I look always to the maximum and minimum. And then I will calculate the deficit, and then yeah, that's a bit the way it's done. But it's not really complicated when you know what you're doing, but you need to know, yeah, figure out first everything. So I can do that,
Uh,
but not so.
so please, if you will need the help further, just find the Franz on LinkedIn or write to me. I will give you Franz number so you can continue. Another question is, what is your opinion on humidifying through an atomizing fan that is supplied with clean water?
When it's supplied with,
With clean water.
and
Yeah,
then
me also don't really understand the question. What is your opinion on humidifying through an atomizing fan that is supplied with clean water?
but I don't understand the fan in that.
With, Yeah, me too. So maybe let's skip it because we don't understand. Maybe if you are still here, write below, and we will try to answer you if you will rephrase your question. So another question is: sometimes pins are dead due to not big difference between room air temperature and outside air temperature. So what should need to do if pins are dead?
When from the inside temperature and the outside temperature,
Yes, sometimes pins are dead due to not big difference between room air temperature and outside air temperature.
yeah, and
Uh,
when the
so they have he has got a similar temperature outside and inside, and for his opinion, it causes that his pins are dead. He asks for your advice.
yeah, I have to first to understand the real question. Is it somewhere written, or can I read that? Depends on that due to the big difference between room temperature and outside temperature. Uh, I don't believe it's not because of the big difference of the room side temperature and the outside temperature. I guess the are these there could be two things. When it's in a normal phase three compost or phase two compost, which is in room, then there is no relation between the outside temperature and the inside temperature. When you have trace, like what Wallhausen does, brings trace to farmers, then when you have a very high outside temperature and the room is very cold, then some pins could be dying, but that is then the leakage of water on the pins, which protects the pins from drying out too much, too fast. And when outside air is very cold, and in the room you like it warmer, then it could be that the um, that too warm air is entering the room. Um,
Yes.
what's your
So,
opinion?
Franz, I sent you to WhatsApp the clarification of the previous question about the fan. May
Mhm.
you read it?
What is your opinion about on unifying through automatization that is supplied with clean water or atomic? Well, that is like I yeah. Um, when you do use that, then you blow somewhere the moist in the room. It's not controlled by the air duct systems that it goes in the right spots. It's when it's a very little room, you can do that. But when it's a bigger room, then it's nearly not possible. I have to go to the toilet for a moment.
Of
Is it
course. Yes.
possible?
Yeah. You can go. You can go,
Yeah.
and we will wait for you. Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Um, so actually, that was very interesting what Franz told, that the question was that pins are dead because of the temperature, but we found out that it was not about the temperature, and often it is the case in the cultivation that we're saying that something cause problems, but actually it is not about that. Often what I tell that, for example, if you you grow mushrooms and you grow on the shells which have rust, and just got used to that. Or if like these connections of sandwich panels, these joints, you see they are rust. And you saying that it is okay, but as well you have hidden in this rust hidden spores and hidden bacteria who can influence your growing. That is what I tell that, for example, these joints of sandwich panels, you can just buy special coating which is designed for the mushroom industry, made from ripstyle, and apply it. It can be applied by you, so that's not a problem. You don't need a special team. And now we are continuing, and the question is, um, can you answer this question? Is the pH of the irrigation water 8? Could this cause any problem?
Yeah, when it's too sore, it's for sure a problem because you will have directly brown spots on the mushrooms. So yeah, it should be actually pH neutral. You cannot put
Uh,
acid in on the mushroom. So it's yeah, it's important.
how to improve the air circulation in a room, or what's the best way to check, is it uniform everywhere or not? Is air circulation uniform or no? Smoke
Yeah,
test or something else?
I say always try to find some smokers and put the cigarette or cigar on spots in the next to the mushroom, and so that you can see the the smoke going up, but do that from a distance that you're not in the way of the wind from the air duct system. You can also use from these little sticks, which often see at home and easy in uh, shops for have yeah with smell. So you can use also these. Perhaps you make also your mushrooms happier. And but this is a simple test. It costs nearly nothing, and you can see everywhere what the if the wind is moving, and then that's a good way to figure out your lowest fan position.
Good. So, and another question is for me. Actually, the question is, it is good presentation, but if the requirements discussed with rational value and with ranges according to each step and phase, that it will be much more better and fruitful. And yes, this is the question for me. Thank you very much. The idea is that to grow mushrooms, you need to know so many things.
Yeah,
Everything is connected with everything. So if you want to go further with us, you can just contact me, organize consulting or organize some courses. Just tell me what you grow, like which mushrooms, where you grow, which equipment you have got, and I will tell you how we can help you definitely with your situation for your farm. And another question, can we treat water with UV light before using the humidifying the growing room?
the
I don't
the
know
question is
for what.
with the water. I question right. Because I see my Ina. I didn't hear the question clear.
You didn't, now you hear me, right?
Yeah,
Can we treat water with UV light before using the humidifying the growing room?
and in which case would you like to like to humidify the room in before the mushrooms are coming in, or the
The idea is that he want to treat water with UV light. before before watering, as far as I understand. Like
Of before watering, when you talk about watering the mushrooms, then it depends on in which environment you grow. In some cases, you can water the mushrooms very long, but then you have as your air system is very, you have yeah, a too dry environment for the mushrooms, then you can water very long. But most of the cases, also the traders don't like to have watered mushrooms. So they say we need, you can only water till they are very little and then stop watering. So it depends also on where you sell the mushrooms.
actually, yeah, I definitely agree with you. Another question is also connected with watering. What you think? Usually, we rise air temperature after watering on mushroom shells for drying. But do you think that it will create a favorable environment for the blotch, like not hot and humid?
Um, yeah, let's say for the blotch, when the blotch is only coming when the mushrooms cannot evaporate enough. So that can be for when you have poor compost, you have it. When your casing layer is too thick, then they can also evaporate harder. So then you can have it also. And with no air over the mushrooms. And there are three things which is definitely related to the bacterial blotch. Then to the question, if you can when after watering to raise up the temperature, yes, you can do that. For drying the quicker, but then you have to be sure that you don't rise it up too quickly or too, yeah, not too high, and that they have a shock again. So I say always, actually, when you water, the air temperature in the room is getting lower because of the water in the room. It evaporates much, so the heater gets also on at that point, but because he tries to keep his temperature. But I see growers, they are working very fine with heating up the room a bit, and because they do then heat, heat up the room, uh, lower the CO2, and increase the fan. There's three things they do, and yeah, others they I see only the heating up the room a bit, and others do nothing. And all, but it's also in your farm where you're working best with, and perhaps it's also related a bit to the compost you have. The more power in the compost, the less you have to do.
Yes. Another question is actually from the domain of chemistry. What do you think? Mushrooms are climateric like vegetables. It releases ethylene, C2H2, the formula, which in maturation hormones. Does these hormones play a role in mushroom grow room or not? If you can tell anything about that.
No, no, I, I don't. I have to think wider in it, and then I have
Yeah.
but no, not
We are
on.
not we are not chemicals here, but if you will want to talk about that, just reach us after the webinar.
Yeah.
So another question is, what is the best CO2 level in pinning and in harvest days?
Hmm.
Which is not easy question.
Yeah, it's I can say a bit about that. Mushrooms start pinning on around 7,000 ppms and a bit lower. So it depends on how you like to spread your first flush and how many times a days you like to pick it. When you like to pick it in 5, 6 days, then you have to bring it very slowly down. And when you like mechanical harvesting, they like to have it within half a day down. So that's a huge white. Then when you're picking, I see good results with growers when they start at around 6,000 ppms and then go down to 2,500 ppms in 6 days. They pick
We have
then.
just
They have a very good spreading then for the amount of mushrooms because only the mycelium which is in the air makes a pin. And then it starts. So you have only very little in the beginning, and it gets more and more and more the lower the CO2 comes. So and yeah, they go to mostly to around 2,500 to have big stems. That you have nice big mushrooms with strong stems. And yeah, that's a bit about what I see what is done and what I did in the
now
early when I was mushroom.
just some questions are left, so we are going to finish soon. But the next question is: sometimes even the humidity is good, but mushrooms start scaling. What can be the standard fan speed during harvesting?
They start crying, the mushrooms, you told? They have drips then on the
Scaling. 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 Scaling.
scaling. Oh, scaling, fish skin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. When you have that, then your temperature output on the side is too high, mostly too high. Then what we always do is we regulate that the inflow temperature cannot be higher than 32 degrees or so, or lower. When you go to 60 degrees, then the air is very dry and soak up all the moist which is on the mushroom. So then you get fish skin. And also when the airspeed is too high and the air is too dry. So that's a bit, the air's evaporating of the mushrooms evaporating too fast. So lower the air
Uh,
fan speed or get the
what is
moist.
the best? What is the best way to reduce CO2?
Open the doors.
Yeah, actually, yes. Okay. How much flashing hours required for first flush in India Pune for button mushrooms to get 150 pinning head? I did not get the question. Did
No, I
you?
also, I
Okay.
don't have the, could the question
Okay.
be more specified?
Yes, yes, we cannot understand. So they tell us that nice presentation and information. Tell us thank you. And another question is, how can I how can I reduce electricity consumption during spawn run and growing without jeopardizing production? Actually, the webinar was about that. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to always to look how the in spawn run when the temperatures are very high and the compost is getting crazy, then you need a lot of cooling and fan speed. You cannot do without it. So you cannot save money on that. So because you have to actually you save your money with that. But you can water more. I say always you can more when the compost is getting too high, then spray more. This the one day, one or the other, or it burns or you drown it. But then better drawn it because when it's very hot, it evaporates also very quickly, and it takes the heat away. And you have to do it very carefully, always looking what's happening and what the temperatures are doing. But better starting early with cooling as starting later because you can nearly not get it back again like you like to have it. When the compost is in summer, for instance, coming in, when it's outside around 30 degrees or even more or whatever, start already cooling when the compost is in, or when it is only when it is 20 degrees, start cooling because that what you cool there, you don't have to cool at the end. Don't let the much of the compost getting too quickly up.
Good. Now we have got two questions left. First is, what is the best CO2 level in pinning and in harvest day? What should be the minimum and maximum CO2 in the harvest day? You said early that in harvest days, 800 ppm is too small. This is why I asked.
Okay, this question was uh, be- uh, two questions before, I believe, and that was when you grow mushrooms and you like to have your harvesting done in 5 or 6 days, then you have to do it very slowly. Let's say you bring down the air in also 5 to 6 days. And I say always, when you do it huge, when you like to have a huge spreading for 6 days, for instance, then start on 6,000 ppm and go down to 2,500 ppm. When you like to have less days, let's say for 4 days, then you start at five, 4 to 5,000 ppms and go slowly down to this 2,000 ppms in 4 days. So you have always a slope. You need to make a slope. Only the mechanical harvesters they don't like. They say, okay, I like to have this, and then whop, they do it at once because they have one harvest point.
Well, thank you so much. Now the last question. What should be the heat water temperature in the main pipe?
And the main pipe for the heating, it depends also how big your heater coil in the climate unit is calculated. Nowadays, we calculate always with 35 degrees, so to save energy. Because in the mushrooms, we don't need to have high temperatures. We need only to heat up a bit. So we make thicker coils. That's more chopper. They're more expensive, but at the end, you save money with that, with putting lower energy, less energy in it. So when you have small coils, you have to know what coil it is, how many rows, how many circuits, the sizes, and then you have to calculate, or you have to calculate still the calculation and the info from your supplier. Then you can also look to that and better ask them how low you can go in this with that water temperature. They can calculate it for you.
Well, thank you, Franz. So, as soon as you will need some answering your questions, just find Franz on LinkedIn, or you can ask me to give his contact to you. For everyone who asks about the presentation, yes, we are going to share it, but it will be pieces by pieces. And to receive it, you need to subscribe to me. Find me on LinkedIn or Facebook, Inna Ustilovska, so that you will be able to see it as soon as I will publish it. And I would like to read the last thing. It is just very nice. Thank you very much, Ina and Franz, for this webinar from Dennis and Leo from the Mushroom Company in Cambodia. Thank you, Franz, to share with us. It is very
Thank
nice. Thank you
you.
very much
You're
for being
welcome.
with us and for your trust.
Yeah.
Um, Thank you. So just follow me for the new webinars, new events. If you want to read my articles, you can find on LinkedIn me or Mushroom Growing News. Follow and you will know everything. See you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ina.
Often, when you have low yield or when you have bad quality mushrooms, the reason is that you have got mushroom diseases. And the reason why you have mushroom diseases is that you have contamination on your mushroom farm and you cannot get rid of that. And now I'm tell you in 3 minutes about the solutions for this problem. Actually, what you need to do is to seal all cracks, all holes, so that the bacteria and spores cannot hide from you somewhere. That is what offers Ripstyle potting. The good thing is that the Ripstyle is active on all continents, so usually you can buy it from your local representative for America, for Canada, for India, and other countries. And another good thing is that you can use it when you are building the mushroom farm or compost yard, or as well if you already have the farm and you see that something goes wrong, that you often have diseases, you often lose, for example, second or third flush, you understand that something goes wrong. And what can go wrong? For example, when you make disinfection, it can be chemical disinfection or it can be cooking, like steaming. From You make it according to all the protocols. You make like more than 70 degrees temperature in the growing room during cooking. But the problem is that when you have when you have cracks in between wall and floor, or in between wall and ceiling, near the doors, near the gates, you can these spores go there, so they are not it is called like cold zones where the temperature is not more than 70 degrees. It is much lower, so that all these spores can preserve there, which means you spend lots of money on electricity to make steaming, but then you understand that spores don't um, have not died. Uh, you can see that for example, here you can see screws which should be sealed as well. That is the example, and here is the best example of, for example, of the corner which is not sealed and which is sealed. How it looks like. Very important to see floor to wall connections, and as well when you have got joints of sandwich panels to seal these places. The application can be done with different methods. There are some special protocols, but it is the most effective way which you see. And here on the last photo, you can see how it is applied. In chat, I put the contact to this company Ripstyle. You can ask about their pricing, about the application. And the good thing is that if you will put it, it is vapor tight coating, so it will not be damaged during yeah, any like heat and moisture. And you can ask Ripstyle about this product and about the local representative.